Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for the Monday Q&A, so let's get started. If you could pick only 4 exercises for a full body routine, what would they be? You know, I'm big on minimalist training, but even 4 is really cutting it low for me. I would say minimum of 5, not counting any additional core work, rotator cuff work, mobility work, things like that. I would definitely say you need a squat. Absolutely back squat if nothing else. If you're doing no other type of squat, back squat is indispensable. Some type of deadlift, preferably a normal conventional deadlift. Some type of chest press. I would normally say bench press because a lot of people need it more, but if you're not going to power lift, I could just as easily replace that with an incline bench potentially. And some people would say weighted dips, but your problem is as a primary pressing movement, weighted dips become dangerous when you start getting really strong with heavy loads. Your risk of injury gets a little too high to use them as your primary movement, just in my personal opinion. Outside of that, it's a fantastic lift. Some sort of overhead press, I would lean towards a push press, behind the neck push press, because again, we're trying to make this a true full body routine. And normally those 4 would be good, but you've got to have some sort of pulling. A lot of people would think I would pick rows, but I would actually pick chin-ups just because they're a little better for the biceps. And you're already getting a decent amount of back recruitment from the deadlifts and squats. So for someone who just wanted a little more balanced physique, I would lean towards the chin-ups. Although if their goal was more athletic performance, I might be willing to go with something like Pendlay rows or power cleans instead. But it really depends on the needs of the individual. And these sort of questions are kind of silly sometimes because while again I love minimalist training and just hammering several big lifts over and over and over, there's no need to necessarily limit yourself that restrictive. Particularly if limiting yourself that restrictive actually becomes a negative in your training and you actually could use a little more diversity in there for your benefit, it would become silly at that point. But they're interesting to entertain. Okay, next question. What would happen if someone took pro bodybuilder doses of AAS, slin, and GH, but ate at maintenance and didn't train? Dead serious answer, they would fucking die. Because if you've seen the type of insulin doses that a lot of pro bodybuilders use, you're going to need a lot of carbohydrates, a lot of carbs to keep yourself from going hypoglycemic. Now this is particularly true when you have this improved nutrient partitioning, improved insulin sensitivity from all the steroids and the growth hormone, and you're eating at maintenance and not working out, which means your maintenance calories are going to be pretty low. You might be on 2,000, 2,500 calories a day. And if you're sedentary, it really could be 2,000. You're going to struggle to consume enough carbohydrates while staying within that number to keep yourself from going hypoglycemic from the massive doses of insulin there. Now, if you live, you would probably gain a lot of muscle because we have studies showing guys gaining pretty heavy amounts of muscle on 500 or 600 milligrams of testosterone without working out. Untrained people, and I'm talking up to 15, 16 pounds of muscle being gained with no training in 5 months. We have studies on that. So if you're taking many times that plus adding other anabolic substances, obviously you're going to gain a lot of muscle, but the problem is you're probably going to die first. So while cute to entertain, it's really silly. And I think it's silly for anyone to subject themselves to the kind of doses that pro bodybuilders do, even if they're a pro bodybuilder sometimes. And I'm not talking about the genetically elite guys who get away with lower doses than the other guys. I'm talking about the guys who are really mega dosing, which is about 50% of the field up there, who don't have the genetics to be Ronnie Coleman or Lee Haney or Dorian Yates, who can't get away with 2 or 3 grams a year. So particularly people using those type of doses is just silly. There's not enough money in bodybuilding to really be worth it, in my opinion. But to each their own. Okay, next question. Thoughts on Brandon Lilly shaving his beard? You know, that actually really upset me because you guys know I love my beard, and I see a beard as a sign of virility and strength. And Brandon Lilly had a fucking awesome beard. I really hated to see that go, and it just reminds me of the story of Samson and Delilah. I feel like with him shaving that beard off, after that major knee injury, to me, I felt psychologically that was a sign that he's going out of the sport, because that beard was his strength. Alright guys, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time in part 2.